You just make sure.
Doesn't have to be like this.
You see it on that?
Where are you? Are you there?
What's what you're looking at?
All I see is myself. Why is that? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, but okay. This is Tomer Devorah, new limud for Elul, starting right away. It was way too complicated. It's like- Just learn a couple of lines and then we'll go back to introduction. Tomer Devorah is written by the Rav Moshe Cordevaro, who was the Rebbe of the Arizal. Arizal calls him Mori Rebbe. He was nifter before the Ari was nifter, and the Ari in Sfas said a hesped for him. He said Mori Rebbe HaRamak. And the Tomer Devorah, just another brief point. Nobody seems to know why the Tomer Devorah is called Tomer Devorah. It's a sefer, it's a treatise about a very, very deep sefer, Kabbalistic sefer about Hashem and the midos of Hashem and our connection to those midos, which we'll learn in a minute. But what does it have to do with the palm tree of Devorah Hanaviah, Akesher? So I looked around and saw nobody seems to know why he called it Tomer Devorah. But I will say this chiddush, that the main sefer that Rav Moshe Cordevaro, the Ramak, wrote was Pardes Rimonim. Pardes Rimonim is a long 8-volume set of svarim on concepts of Kabbalah, specifically the Spheros. Originally, the Tomer Devorah was the Hakdama to the Pardes Rimonim. How do I know that? Because the Reishis Chachma says, the Haramak back to Masai, slash on the Reishis Chachma, back to Masai, L'Sefer, Pardes Rimonim, Hanikra, Tomer Devorah. So one thing we know is that this is not a sefer that was meant to be a sefer. It was a sefer that was meant to be an introduction to the big Kabbalah sefer, which is the Pardes Rimonim. So Pardes Rimonim, in a Pardes, there is also a Tomer, and a Tomer is a palm tree, and the Tomer Devorah, I think, will become clearer. But it's just to have that perspective, as this is the introduction.
Are the others foreign from the Ramak, the orchard?
Yes, they're all named after trees in archery. But the mashal of the Arizal is Eitz Chaim. So we're talking about, and probably Lefi HaZohar, the Eitz Hadas was a Talmar. So it gives us an idea. So it says, let's take a sefer. Is there swarm? There's no more swarm?
Yeah, I was taking one in. Thank you.
You have it?
I was just downloading.
Okay. We have swarm. Ha'adam roish stam l'kaina. So Rav Moshe Cordevaro starts this treatise by saying that ha'adam roish stam l'kaina. A person should imitate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a pell unto itself. Why in the world should a person imitate HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Hashem is Hashem. It would be like saying, Lahavdil, that every subject in a Malchus, every Eved in a Malchus should be imitating imitating the Melech. Like, why should you imitate the Melech? It's almost a sarn in the covet of the Melech to imitate the Melech. So, but the Yisod is Ha'adam Roi, she is Damel Kainai, Va'az Yiyeh B'Sai Hatzura Hel Yaina. And by doing so, he will be beside of the Tzura El Yaina. So here's the way this works, and here's the important Yesod. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, at the end of the Bria, created Adam and Chava. Created Adam HaRishon, And his introduction to it, to creating Adam Arishan, was, I'm creating a man, but Salmenu Kid Hussein. It's a person, the theme is repeated 3 times in Sefer Bereshis, that Adam is created, B'Tselem Elokim. B'Tselem Elokim is something that we say and we gloss over it, but it has unbelievable mashmos when you think about it. That we are created in the image of Hashem. What in the world can that possibly mean? What does it mean? Kadosh Baruch Hu has no image. What does it mean? Kadosh Baruch Hu is also losing his hair. Like, what could it possibly mean that we're created b'Tselem Elokim? It's against everything that was written since the Rambam about the existence of Kadosh Baruch Hu, that there's no corporeality to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the biggest kasha on the whole idea that there's a lack of corporeality is this gufa, that we're created b'Tselem Elokim, a gufa. So what does it mean? What does the words mean? And what's the significance of being created b'Tselem Elokim? So there's different, just before we even go into this, there's different possibilities of being created b'Tselem Elokim. The Pashut Pshat is not in the physical tzura, because Hashem doesn't have any physical tzura, but let's say in the next level of tzura. For instance, Hashem sees, we see. Hashem touches, we touch. Hashem stretches out his arm, we can stretch out our arm. So it's not so much what we look like in the Tzelem Elokim, this is the Pashut Pshat, but that we can do godly things. We can do things, which is an interesting idea. As humans, we can do a number of godly things. A deeper understanding of it is that, and this is for sure the MS, that besides for being able to see like Hashem can see and smell like Hashem can smell, we have many of the basic mitos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As Chazal tell us, Mahu Rachum Avato Tiyarachum, Mahu Chanum Avato Tiyachanum. So the deeper shot, level 2 of understanding the what it means to be b'Tselem Elokim is that we have midos like HaKadosh Baruch Hu has midos. We'll explain. We have godly midos. If we want to, we can act very godly. And even a deeper shot, none of these are contradicting each other, but a deeper, maybe more Kabbalistic shot is that in the Adam, in what the Mekubalim call the Koimas Adam, from the Komas Adam, which starts figuratively from the head and goes down to the toes, so you have all of the spheros of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Meaning, the way the spheros work, and this is not our subject here, but I just want to explain where the Ramak is coming from, because the whole Tomer Devorah from Parak Beis on is to explain the spheros. The whole idea of the spheros is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, Kivyachol, as much as we can understand, is an Echad Pashut. And then he breaks out, in order to create a world, breaks into Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, different, one light, as if one light is going through a prism and breaking out into 7 lights, or into like a rainbow of lights. And then, that's the Alma de Piruta, which we've learned about many times. And all of those 7 come together in Adam. And Adam has Chesed and Gvura and Tiferes and Netzach and Hod and Midas HaYesod and even Malchus. All of these things come together in an Adam. And the job of the Adam is to be godly. What does it mean to be Doma L'Tzura? It means that Mahu Echad Afato Tiyeh Echad. In other words, there's the way to look at it is that there's the Echad HaPashut of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Echad HaPashut of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mispashek into many, many different oiros, comes together in us, mamish in us, and we have many, many diverse feelings and ideas, and should we do chesed or should we have gvura, right? Maybe you had this question this morning. Should I be nice or should I be tough? Should I have chesed, should I have ispashtus, or should I have tzimtzum? Or should I try to combine them in Tiferes? Should I do things which are Netzach, or which are going to last forever? Should I invest in the moment, live for the moment? There's a lot of different questions. It all comes together in the Adam. All the spheres come to the Adam. And the goal is to be Misdama Lakono. What's the Pshat Lakono? By HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there are no different disparate feelings. It all comes together as one. Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. It's all Echad. So we could also become Echad. So I said on Shabbos, Tkiya, Shvarim, Tkiya. The first Tkiya is Pshuto, Pashut. And then, like when you look at somebody and you meet somebody, or you look at a Sugya or whatever it is, starts off being, oh, that's Pashut. Then when you look at it deeper, all of the details and the questions start flying out at you. And it's not so Pashut. And then when you learn it very, very well, and you're Moser Nefesh for that Sugya, or to understand that person, or whatever it is that you're trying to understand, even a scientific thing, so it comes out Pashut. So you have Pashut, Misubach, Pashut. Tkiya, Shvarim, Tkiya. Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya. Sometimes you have a Shvarim, Trua. But at the end you end up with a Tkiya Gedola. Very, very Pashut. And that's the called Pashut. You can't have even one hefsek in it. You're not even supposed to have, like people blow woo. It's not even that. That's not even right. It should be woo Pashut. Like everything's Pashut. There's no ups, there's no downs. That's the Pshuta. So from a Kabbalistic point of view, when we talk about Selam Alikim, we're talking about imitating. I think the Latin word is imitatio Deus. Imitating HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Dahainu, understanding that we are the microcosm of the whole world that was created before us, for us, and we're the Sof Kol Habriya. Now, that sounds nice, but how do you do it? How do we, so that's what the Sefer is for. The Sefer is telling us how to imitate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So let me, just want to learn this one line here today. Adam Roish Yisdama L'Kaina. It's befitting for a person to imitate his creator. Va'az yiyeh, and only then will he be besod hatzura ha'elyono. He'll be in the sod. He'll have acquired the what? The hidden, not foundation. Sod, the hidden part. The secret, the hidden part of the Tzura Ha'elyoina, which of course has no Tzura. But the Tzura Ha'elyoina means, in terms of Kaimas Ha'adam, and it means the what? The Midos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Bria of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Spheros of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So let me make it easier. The Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah as follows. The Gemara says the history of the Chumash is that Moshe Rabbeinu went to Har Sinai. He received the Torah, received the Luchos, and on Shivasar B'Tammuz, he received the Besura Ra, the Klal Yisrael built an Egel. Being Mefarish, the Gemara and the Psukim according to the Ramban. He had the Besura, Lech Rei, Kishich Ezamcha, Basalahem, Egel Masech, they made an Egel. Okay, here was Moshe Rabbeinu standing on Har Sinai getting the Torah. The biggest Nevuah in history. Klal Yisrael's there making an Egel. Moshe Rabbeinu went down, Shivasar B'Tammuz. We have a fast day for Nishtabra Haluchos. Luchos were broken. Happened what happened. On Rosh Chodesh Elul, Moshe Rabbeinu was invited back to Har Sinai. Come back up, and we talk. Whereas Moshe Rabbeinu wanted only to restore the relationship between Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Alei Elai Ahara. So come back up the mountain. That was Rosh Chodesh Elul. In this conversation, which we're privy to, the Chumash says, it's an amazing conversation. Moshe Rabbeinu says things that the Gemara adds that you can't destroy the people. The whole thing was about destroying the people. This was This was a survival discussion for the Jewish people. Don't, what people are going to say, that Baroid Eretz Mitzrayim, the whole time, all the landing of the time of Sibur, Moshe Rabbeinu is arguing you can't destroy the people. Don't forget it now, like after everything we did, after the Asar Makos, after taking them out of Egypt, you can't destroy the people because of this ego. So finally, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, apparently on Rosh Chodesh Elul, was masking. And he said, okay, we talk. What do we talk? So Moshe Rabbeinu immediately says, it seems that this is a chronology. What do we need to do to get back in? But he says, Hareini Na'as Kvaitcha. In this Hiskarvus HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Moshe Rabbeinu says, let me see what you look like, Hashem. Hashem answers him, Lo Yirani Ha'adam V'chai. What was this question to let me see what you look like? So the Mepharshim explained that the Klal Yisrael in building the Egel were trying to put together a composite of the seminal. With me? They're trying to create a composite Elohim. Okay, we know the Malbim tells us that the Egel had all the features of the Ma'aser Merkava. Lefi, what they understood from hearing the words Anochi Hashem Elikecha, they put in different midos, different suros to try to create, and they messed up because that's what Avodah Zarah is. Avodah Zarah is when you're trying to create an image of what's going on in Shabbat. That is Avodah Zarah. That's exactly what you're not allowed to do. But that's what they were trying to do. Avodah Zarah could be a very spiritual experience, I imagine. It's also. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, Seder, no, like the eagle's there behind us. We crushed it. We ground it up. It's not around anymore. But Hareini Nas Kvaitcha, what's Taka? What is the Tzura El Yoina? What is the Tzura? What are we talking about over here? Meaning Moshe Rabbeinu's question had to do exactly with Adam Roishis, Dama Lakanya. I mean, we need to understand the Tzura El Yoina so we can understand Selam Alikim, we can understand who we are and what we are. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on the one hand, said, Lo Yirani Ha'adam V'chai. You're not going to see me in that sense. But, Yesh li Makom V'nikras Hatzur. I have a way of doing this, said Hashem. This is all, who knows, I'm just quoting the Chumash. I have a way of doing this. You'll stand in a certain place, and Vani Aver Lefanecha, and I will pass before you. The landing in the Tainus Tzibur, Hashem said to him, the Yud Gimel Midos, Hashem, Kel Rachel Mechal Nerech Apayim Rok Chesed Yemes, Neiser Chesed La'alof, Neiser Elven, V'Vesher V'Chatov, and Hakei, right? So says the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, Il Mole Mikra, because of all the story that I'm telling you now wouldn't be portion of the pasuk Yev Shalom, or who could say such things? It's too much Gashmis attributed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it's a pasuk. Malamed says the Gemara Shenisatei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kishleach Tzibur, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol put a talus on as if he's a chazan. V'yamar Lifnei Moshe, and he said to Moshe, Asu B'zman Yisrael Choytim, if Klal Yisrael does a chet like they just did. Asu lefanai keseder hazeh, do the seder Hashem kel racham v'chanon slichos, say slichos, ani moichel lahem, and I'll take care of it. So, number of interesting things here. Number one, Pajal Pshat in the Gemara. This is a fascinating Gemara that we've all heard. One thing is the words. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not say, okay, if whenever Klal Yisrael's in trouble, say these words, scream them very loud, do it with a minyan, try to do it in the middle of the night, and Ani Moichel Lachem. That's not what it says. What does it say? Asu l'fanai keseder hazeh. You do this. What are they doing? What they're doing is, you do, in other words, Hashem said, let me tell you a little bit about myself. Very, very little bit. Hashem, kel rachel mechanon, midos that we have to learn. Asu l'fanai keseder hazeh, understand and teach Klal Yisrael who they are and what they are. and understand that just like ani rachum, mahu rachum, afata rachum. If you become what you're supposed to become, which is the same midos that I have, so then I'll be meichel. What Moshe Rabbeinu, the Gilui, the Nevuah that Moshe Rabbeinu had here was that the whole trick is to become what you're supposed to become. Here does it go. It's like you're tired, right? Like the whole vart is that a person has within him, for drugs, midos of Hashem, godliness. But we're not walking around like we have godliness. We're walking around like we're people. But a person has in him or her a koach to be rachum like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is rachum.
A non-Jew as well.
Selam aleichem. It's not as strong because we have another milo of bonim atem lashem aleichem. So the all human beings look alike. No, we'll have eyes and noses, but the son looks more like a father than every other human being. So you have the selam aleichem. Person is chaviv adam shenivra b'tzelem aleichem chaviv and Yisrael shnikroim bonim aleichem. It's a little bit further. So there's a lot of. So the first thing is asul lefanai, keseder hazeh. Now, just understand that the Yud Gimel Midos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, their Gilui was on Rosh Chodesh Elul. That was when the Gilui of it was. Hence the minhag of the Sfardim to start saying Slichos on Rosh Chodesh Elul.
Is it crucial, the word Seder?
Seder hazeh, go in order.
Is that crucial?
Yeah, in order. I don't know why Ashkenazim are not mistader with saying slichus for 30 days. We start to get a breakdown if the slichus goes more than 3 days into the week before. Okay, it's a different culture, I guess, sleeping. But no, because I was in the hospital with my father yesterday, so like the pasha of people, like the guy who takes the garbage, the guy who's fixing this, like they're all humming the tunes of slichus that they said that morning. That's this is what they do, which is beautiful. Where does it come from? It comes from here. This Gemara that because Moshe Rabbeinu, this is the tour, the beginning of Elul Rishon, that Moshe Rabbeinu was all alar Sinai and Rosh Chodesh Elul, and Kosh Baruch Hu was megala to him the Seder Slichos and said Asu. So it's not about the tunes and it's not about getting up. That's all chashuv, but it's about Asu. Do it. How do you do it? Hashem kel rachum v'chanun erech habayim rav chesed noitzer chesed la'alofim noisei ofim pesha. Stuff we're supposed to do, not scream at God about. Stuff we're supposed to do. See, let's take it like a step further. Just to this point has to be crystal clear before we get into the omek, and the omek of the Tomer Devorah, in my opinion, is gut wrenching as to what's being asked of us to do. It's extremely demanding. It's like the people say all the time, like one of the big expressions of the world is if you're asked to do something, or you're asked to do something like not get angry, or do something like save somebody's life, or so the usual response is, look, I'm only human. So that's a pretty poor excuse. I'm only human. Like human is, you say, look, I'm only a rabbit. Okay, that's I'm only a cockroach. But I'm only human means that I'm created b'tzelem Elokim. So how does that only how does the only get in there? It should be, hey, I'm human. Human means that I'm the bechir shebebriya, that I was chosen to have mamash tzur el yoina, as he calls it, the side hatzur el yoina. It means that a human being has literally a godly capacity. So a godly capacity is something more than what we limit ourselves to as humans. Let me illustrate it. The Zohar says in Bereshis as follows. The Zohar says, I believe it's Ra'ashu Alma. Shem Bar Yochai said, Ra'ashu Alma. The world is far tumult The world is going crazy over the fact that Hashem said, Na'aseh Adam b'tzalmeinu, let us create man. B'tzalmeinu. How many gods are there? What's the let us create man? Rasha Alma. The world is making noise about this, Hirshon Bar Yochai says. And they don't know, he explains, the side of the Bria, the simple side of the Bria, and that is, it wouldn't be a question if they understood the basics of the Bria. And that is that everything, and this is, it's a funny word to say, but this is very mustavra. It's just a logical thing. That every Bria that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, the squirrel, a rabbit, an ant, a leaf, a worm, every Bria that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created has some aspect of godliness in it. Like one of the Nitzitzis of the spheroids fell onto that Bria. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu was careful, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai explains, not to make two Brias the same. Like, this is my koach, the worm says to the ant. I can really, worm has got a big koach, cut it in half, it keeps on going. Well, you can't even tell the difference between my head and my tail. It's a koach. So that's a godly koach. There are animals that can see a mile. So every animal in the Bria has some aspect of godliness. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made them all different. They're similar but different because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so different, and I'm sure Hashem is unlimited, so it can't be everything. But there are animals that are fighters. There are animals that know how to take revenge. There are animals that know how to be mavater. There's animals that could be a man's best friend. There's all kinds of kochos in the Bria. There's animals that lend protection. There's porcupines that shoot out. I'm not a zoologist, but if you visit the zoo, I presume you can really be ma'ayin into so many midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't make two of them the same. Shloi lahatel kina b'ma'aseh bereishis, because then there would be jealousy in the ma'aseh bereishis. So each one carries one aspect. Now comes the ultimate creation. What's the ultimate creation? Adam. Adam is the ultimate creation. He's going to have, here's Hashem's idea, let's make a person which is going to be Kailul Kol HaSpheres V'Kol HaMidah Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's create a creation which is going to be Kailul HaKol. Problem. What's the problem with the Bria, explains Rav Shimon Bar Yochai? How can I create man? Until now I was so careful not to make any two Brias the same. Now I'm going to create one Bria which is going to have all of the midos of that I have. Okay, look at the Mishnah. Avi Oz Kanomer. You want to know where you get chutzpah? Chutzpah. You should have chutzpah like a leopard. Gibor Ka'ari. You should be a Gibor Ka'ari. Rotz Katzvi. You should run like a tzvi. Why should we be doing those things? This is what we do. Go if you want to learn how to be a good person. Go to some mashgiach in Bnei Brak. What are we going to the zoo? Rotz katzvi, gibor gari, oz kanomer. It's a pellet. The answer is, if you want to understand the midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, look at the tzvi and look at its tzrizus. Now, you're not going to run as fast as the tzvi, but that's what tzrizus is. That's the midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and its extreme manifestation in Olam Hazeh. 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. Look at the Parak Shira. Look at the Gemara that says that if we wouldn't have had a Torah, we would have learnt out zrizas from the Namola, honesty from the ants. The Gemara goes on, like learning everything from the animal kingdom. Why? Because these are all different midos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So how can I take all of these midos and put them into an Adam? So the answer is, says the Zohar, fascinating, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu called all of the Bria together after he created it. And he said, you need to give Rishus. The only way there's not going to be Kinub Ma'aseh Bereishis is if every single part of the Ma'aseh Bereishis gives Rishus, that there should be one Adam, Yichitas Adam Elokim al Adam, that there should be one Adam that has all of your midos and maybe not even in the same extreme. We still can't see 10 miles. We still can't run like a tzvi. But we have the midos all of the midos together, and they all said, Amen, we'll do it. Let's do it. There should be an Adam. The Bechir should be, the end. If Adam would have been created a day earlier, or certainly a week earlier, he wouldn't have been able to be kolel all these different midos. So the midos that he was kolel are the midos of the entire Bria. Have to be at the very, very, very end of the Bria. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, okay, everybody's maskim. Bria, rabbits, turtles, everybody's maskim. Nase Adam b'tzalmeinu kidmuseinu. So says the Zohar. We're all in this together, and that's the Nase. Doesn't refer to Avodah Zarah, doesn't refer to Malachim, it refers simply to the Bria that he made. The Bria was maskim to the Bria Adam, and hence came this Adam, which has to be the most remarkable Bria imaginable, because it has every midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and only Hashem is higher than him. Only Hashem is higher than him. So that's the Bria. What becomes our job? Not to be masniach. Like if we have all these kochos, right? It'd be silly, like to take a beast of burden and use it as a go get my newspaper. Because Baruch Hu gave it kochos. The different kochos that we have to be found and have to be used, but the kochos are not kochos, physical kochos. The kochos are midos, spiritual kochos. Means to say that I feel like I should really lose my temper right now. Right? Feels like the natural thing to do. To get angry and lose my temper because this person has gone too far. And by right, by law, in this case, I'm entitled to lose my temper. But would Hashem lose his temper? Do we let him? Do we want him to lose our temper? We say, Hashem, Kel erech hapayim. You have a long patience there. Erech hapayim. Somebody said to me, one of my kids actually said to me a few days ago, he said, sometimes I feel like I'm davening and Hashem is not listening. So I said to him, sometimes I feel like I'm talking and you're not listening. Like if you want Hashem to listen, you have to become a listener, right? Like there's a Bida Kedik Bida over here. Like, are we listeners or are we talkers? So if you want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to be makshiv tefillah, say no. So practice what you preach. You can't just ask Hashem to do something. You do it. Why isn't Hashem having patience with me? Why does it seem like I'm not like HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that giving up on me? The answer is maybe you're giving up on somebody. Maybe giving up on yourself. And the midos are deep. The midos are deep, but the chap of the midos are that it's not anything about being human in the conventional vernacular sense of the word, because being human is I'm only human. And what the chiddush here is that it's not about only human, it's about human is a very, very big thing. It means that we have mamash the kochos, the midos and the kochos, somewhere within us of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be able to go kineged what seems to be natural, and even, like the Goin says, kol achoisem piv lamato, the lashon of the Gra. I think it's his original lashon. It means that you're about to say something wrong. So what does it mean? It means that I thought of it, I feel it, I've developed it, and I've developed the words, the hurtful words, in my mind, in my heart. I've articulated them. They're already in my throat. They're about to come, and they're on my tongue, and I'm about to say it. And choisem pi, like at the very last point, I'm able to hold myself back, not say it. Right to say it. I've rationalized it. I've articulated it. I've verbalized it. I've done everything but said it. Kol achoisem piv lemata, lashon of the Gra, zoiche la'or ganus. At that moment, a person is zoche to an or ganus, shall atik elyon, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu she'ein kol malach u'briya yecholem liskos lo. Simple thing. You can get to an or which no malach can get to. Why? Because I've just exercised my potential of being godly. Kadosh Baruch Hu can do that. Kadosh Baruch Hu can stop at the last second. So we can stop at the last second. Think about how hard that is. Like it's already a done deal. We've already rationalized it. We've already figured it out. We'll do tshuva later. So what's not by yet? But in a chanami, most people can't handle this. But if you can, and you do, Zeichel or Elyon. Let me give this quick mashal. Like, I made this point many times. It's an important one, I think. The Gemara tells us that the Torah, meaning the Chumash, is Tchilasei Chesed v'Seifei Chesed. So it starts with Chesed, ends with Chesed. So, ends with Chesed, everybody knows. HaKadosh Baruch Hu buried Vayikbar Moshe Bagai. Baruch himself buried Moshe Rabbeinu. Nobody was there. Nobody was at the Levaya. Nobody buried him. Kadosh Baruch Hu buried him. So that's the Sefer Chesed, the Tchilas Chesed. That's the bookends. It's all about Chesed. That's what the Gemara wants to bring. What's the Tchilas Chesed? So, as I pointed out many times, the Chesed of the beginning can be very, very Brias Olam. The fact that he created the world was an Olam Chesed Yivana. The fact that he made Adam, and he said, Loi Tov Lo Adam Lios Levado, he gave him a wife. Possibility of a partnership that if it works, it can be amazing, right? If it works, it could be amazing. Huge Chesed, he gave him Gan Eden, food, fruit, everything. Everything's good. At that time, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, everything was there. There was no B'zeh Zapecha Techalech. There was no... when the Torah says, when the Gemara says the Torah Tchilas Chesed, you might have to turn so many pages until you get to the pasuk of Vayas Lahem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made them made them clothing. Mamash a Kleinigkeit compared to making them Gan Eden. So you start on page 11 with the Tchilas Chesed. I couldn't find anything earlier. So the Torah says that Kol Zman, that Adam does not do a chet, and Chava does not do a chet. It's not called Chesed. It's just natural for me to take care of you. Hashem says, I'll take care of you. I'll give you Gan Eden. I'll give you Mashiach. I'll give you eternity. It's natural. The shaila is what happens when Adam and Chava eat from the Eitz Hadas. Now that Adam and Chava eat from the Eitz Hadas, I give you one darn mitzvah, and you can't seem to keep it. Right? One thing, little kashrus thing. Don't eat the tamar, don't eat the apple, whatever it was. So now there would be a natural human tendency to push somebody away, which he did. He pushed them out of Gan Eden. Cherev hamisapeches. And now HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees they're uncomfortable, they're naked. Okay, that's the price of violating Hashem's words. Vayaslam kos nasar. So Chesed, that's Tchilas Chesed. It's the first Chesed that the Gemara was able to find in the pages of the Torah, because it has to be a Chesed which is Achar Achet. If it's not a Chesed Achar Achet, it's not a Chesed. It's Hatova. It has to be a Chesed which is in ganzen nicht mustav, completely illogical for this Chesed. You're in Golos. Coats for Dardar. I'm not worried that you have clothes, you didn't have a nice sweater. Like what's the nakuda? But that's so when we talk about the word chesed, the actual word chesed, chesed means exactly this, that exactly where the standard human common sense says, die, it's enough, done everything I can do, I'm only human, I can't do any more. It's exactly at that point that chesed begins. You with me? This is.
So before that, it was chesed, but it wasn't. We're using the word chesed.
It was hatava. It was the world is toiv, Hashem is toiv.
So why is that bookend?
So, right. Right, because the relationship started off with the chet.
Why isn't that rachamim?
Hmm?
Why isn't that rachamim?
Okay, so that's what we have to learn. The midah of Vayasam Kosnasar is the midah of Hashem. What is Hashem, Kel Rachum Chanun. So the first midah is Hashem. Ani Hashem Koydem Achet, Ani Hashem Acher Achet. The very first midah that's Tchilas Chesed, is the Hashem Kel Rachum Chanun. Hafel v'fella so David asked the kasha, what do you need to have rachamim before the chet? Hashem. So the Gemara says, Ani Hashem loy shanisi. That it was programmed into the Bria Gufa, because we're not talking about something which came about after the chet. We're talking about, like, this is the atzmius of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the do chesed, programmed, kilu, into HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and what's more important than us, because we can't really understand the theology. By the way, the Iker Chidushim of Tomer Devorah, Perek Aleph, which we learn, is not the theological aspect of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in these midos. Just to learn these midos and understand aspects of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm just giving a mashal. So the mashal is that it's exactly. Let me just say the line again. It's exactly where the world's understanding of midos tovos.
It's 9:15.
And chesed, let's say, and until that point, you don't need to be godly. Everybody understands. Be nice to the whales. But it's exactly where that ends. Where I say this doesn't make any sense anymore. I can't reconcile this in my logic. It's exactly at that point where the midos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu begin. Think about what we're asking him for. Now this opens up a very difficult challenge in life, because sof kol sof, we can't let ourselves be abused, and we have to be able to say ad kan, and we have to do the right thing and do what's right for us and for our family, and so that's true. That's a hanhaga l'maisa. There is such a hanhaga l'maisa, but the hanhaga l'maisa has to come mitoich hachesed. See, HaKadosh Baruch Hu also gives unction. I'm sure it's painful for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to machar the Beis Hamikdash and to make a Holocaust. But right, but the Evid and the atzmius of Chesed, the midah of Chesed, is there. There has to be an onesh. Gevurah shebechesed. So we have 5 minutes. Let's leave the words inside. Ha'adam royesh yistam elokainai. Now we understand that it's befitting for a person to be domeh to Hashem, to his Creator. In the Tzelem Elokim Shabai, we have to be able to imitate HaKadosh Baruch Hu in midos. Va'az, and if you can do that, yeh besod hatzura el-yona, then we enter into the secret, the great Kabbalistic secret of Tzura ha'Elyona, of the ultimate Tzura of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the midos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Shir Koima of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Tzura Elyona of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which can all be in us. We are godly. Tselem, there's a concept of Tselem which we have to discover, and a concept of Dmus. What's a Tselem? What's a Dmus? What do you say, Rav Yitzchak? Have an idea? It's like one quick guess. No, we'll learn. What's a Tselem? What's a Dmus? An image. Resemblance, Doma, an image, and a resemblance. So we need Tzarchim. She'ilu, says the Ramak, Yeduma begufai, v'loi bepu'ulais. Because let's say we have the physical potential to look like HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'loi bepu'ulais, but we don't act like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Arehu machziv hatzura, there is a kizuv of the tzura. on a superficial level, sometimes you meet people and you say, they have a certain surah of being very organized and intelligent, and they talk nicely and this and that, okay, you're hired. And then you meet them and you say, they're not intelligent or organized, they just have that surah. You ever come across this? They just somehow have this surah. Doima. There's, if a person has a surah, if a person has a doma, has a dimyan to somebody who's very, very chashuv, like the Gemara says that if a person, like there's an aveira for a person to go to a place that they don't know and dress like a Talmud Chacham if he's not a Talmud Chacham. Asr. Asr lislabish b'ksus she'eino shalom. It's an issue, giving people the impression that you're Talmud Chacham, as an example, and people are going to come and ask you things and be mechabed you and this and that, and you're not that. So it's a scary issue of sort of like acting like a Talmud Chacham. You're not a Talmud Chacham. Because Baruch Hu makes us like unbelievable, like all the animals and all the world and all the malachim, they're all afraid of us because of the way we look. Wow, like mamish, the for lack of a better word, personality. I don't know how you say that in God word. Personality, godality, godality of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's scary, but then it doesn't follow through. So what happens when a person has all of this surah and no tochen? So says the Ramak, you are falsifying the surah that you were given. You're talking the talk, but you're not walking the walk. You're not real, which is particularly ugly to be not real if you're looking like you're real. So here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates us as humans, and we're walking around saying we're only human. What does that mean? I'm only a bird. It's gross. It's a big thing that was given to us. Like we got to get this through our heads over here. This is a very, very big thing that was given to us. The Yoimru Allah, people will be able to say Tsura Noel Maisim Kurim. It looks good, but his Maisav are ugly. It's not real. It's not the real thing. Sharei Ikar Atselim V'Hatmus Ha'el Yoin Hein Puloisav, because, and here's the big underlinable point, that when we talk about Selam Elikim, when we talk about Dmus Elikim, B'Tzal Meinu, Kid Dmus Seinu, which will have to be Ma'ayin into it, Ikar Hatzelam V'Dmus Elikim Hein Pulosa, has to do with the Pulos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Uma Yoyoloi Yoisei B'Tzur El Yoina, what good can it possibly be to have the potential and Dmus Tavnis Evara Ubepulaisav Lo Yisdam L'Kainai, and in their Pu'ula there's no shaykhs, no connection. So Lefichach Roish Yisdama El Pu'ulais HaKesef. Okay, this is what to leave for next time. But the Nakuda here is that, to sum it up in one sentence, that we underestimate the Brias Adam. Just underestimate what we are. We're told what we are by our second grade teachers. It sticks. It's true, no? Like somebody told us when we were little kids that we can't sing. For the rest of the life, we think we can't sing. Somebody told us we're not. Somebody told me a couple of months ago, he said that really, really smart guy, probably one of the smartest guys I know. He said probably one of the most damaging things that ever happened to me, he tells me, is that my father once told me, you're a very smart guy, but you're not a genius. His father was a genius. You're good, you're smart, but you're not. So he tells me he's fighting this for the rest of his life. Like he happens to be a genius. He happens to be a genius. I mean, I think by every estimation. Like, this is much more than genius. This is much more than like powerful. This has to do with mamish being doma le malka, doma le kainai, person who's mamish doma to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So anybody who says not like that is just cheapening our self-image. So the image is there, The potential's there. So now the job is, asu lefonai keseder hazav, ani moichel lachem. If you can, he said, Hashem's, Moshe Rabbeinu said, let me see. He says, okay, I'll show it you. I can't show you a Gashmi, but I can show you the midos. Hashem Torah. So once I show you the midos, asul lefonai keseder hazav, ani moichel. So be that. Just be that. And if you can be that, if you can be that, and it has to do with how we talk, it has to do with how we walk, how we act for other people. Most of it has to do with Bedam L'Chaver, just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is paying Hashem to us, to people. It's us with people. So the limud is to learn the Keser, to learn the Pulos, to learn the Spheros, figure out what it means about us, and then we could be a Tomer Devorah. Thank you for coming. I can't finish it all because we're only human. I can't be numbered. If anything, I'm going to be able to. Just